To help if I unmute myself at some point in the next half decade. Welcome to Stint 5, everybody. An hour long. Going to be the shortest of the stints we have for you today. Everyone should be in their positions that they're currently in terms of the race situation. Astro from a lot of cards from Perry at the front of this grid. It's going to be fairly interesting. I reckon White's probably wondering why the hell he's all the way down in 11th. But nonetheless, fairly unfortunate time. Fairly unfortunate for him. Can everyone hear me properly? A minute until we get going. I'm going to put a starting soon in here. That way everyone knows that we're going at pretty much exactly 1:15. Hey, Iggy. What's up? Alright, so we've got Aero GT Purple from Aero GT Blue from Project Platypus, and then Slipstream Racing Legends in the front four. Queen's Head in 5th, Lost Tracking Racing in 6th, T3 in 7th, Eclipse in 8th after making one hell of a recovery, D-Dubs and TVG in 9th, Raizku in 10th for the finish, Wide in 11th, Aero GT Silver. They're not white, it's not white, it's just not white. We're not calling them Aero GT White, it's just not a white car. Then you got Ramir for HR, Scythe in Aero GT Emerald, and then Matt Debater at the rear of the grid. Everyone has their times. I'll have you know that this paint is called white. Someone might want to check the fucking paint label then. That's silver. I don't know what to tell you, Iggy. That's not white. What part? Not even going to show you the car. What part of this is white? I'd like to ask the question. I'd like to pose the question to the chat. What part of this is not a silver car? Oh well. Alright, here we go. Formation lap time here. Astro leads us away with Barotocods in 2nd. And then you got Perry in 3rd. That shiny white. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel for some excuses today, eh? I feel sorry for White. White did a couple of stints, got him into the top 5, but only just got jumped by Klinger in the end of the 3-hour stint, and then comes back and it's 11th. I feel like he's going to be extremely happy with his team. The first lap is just going to be done about 75 mile an hour, apparently, if we're going by Astro's measure. He's currently warming up the tyres. Got a Rotocod to go the rest of the way. He's not very far ahead of Perry to start this one, so I would still assume that there is not a 1-2 on the cards here for Aero GT. It's going to have to be something absolutely magnificent from a Rotocod for it to happen. But still, 29 laps around Suzuka. Let's see if we can get things up and running here then. So Astro's got a very simple job to do. An unreasonably simple job to do, some people may say. And that is defend a 3-minute lead. Or there and thereabouts. Technically, I think it's 2:51. I think the actual lead is. That should, in the last 3 hours, be fairly insurmountable. I say should. But, you know, weirder things have happened. We have seen weirder things happen. DCs do exist. It would absolutely screw them. But we have seen weirder stuff happen. We're all about to head into the pits. Hopefully they don't give each other damage like they did on the last time I solo commentated a Stint. All heading into the pits now. Single file line. There's mediums for Astro and Erotic cards. Softs for Perry. Mediums for the following four. Arbo on softs. Mediums for D-dubs. Raisku on the softs. And then the 11th, 12th, 13th on medium tires and Matt on the softs at the back of the field. And at the max the max distance of starting. Alright. It would have to be something extremely special. Alright. Just having a wait to see how long. Well, Eroticos is going to be about the next car out in about 3 minutes. And then you've got Perry. After that, Astro just gets to drive on his own accord for that period of time. It'll be over a lap. He has the advantage here. So look at what the times are meant to be. Welcome everyone joining us for a 29 lap stint. So 3:08 on the pit time is when when Eroticos should go. Then you've got Project Platypus another 14 seconds or 13.5 seconds off the back of that. Realistically, if Perry can get things going early, it's just going to be a one-stop race, soft to mediums. Pit lane about 30 seconds loss. It's not worth doing a two-stop here. Well, technically they are two-stopping because they're pitting now, but that's not the point. Couple of minutes in to the race. It's to waiting in the pits at the moment. Astro is about to come round the final corner of the lap to finish up lap number 2. So he now has we knew already he had a lap advantage. He should be able to complete maybe a third of the track before Eroticos start doing anything to his car. Oh, if he can keep it on the track, that is. Almost going a bit deep into turn 1. That would have been disastrous. You make that mistake early on. It would be handing a few seconds back if you make a spin right about now. However, even if he does spin, a lot of dominoes would have to fall for this to become a remotely competitive fight for the lead. The right car's filling up the tank in its entirety. Perry is on with the tyres and the fuel now as well. He's going to come out. Should be about 13.5 seconds off the back, depending on where he's going to put the fuel tank here. Going to go about 3/4 of a tank, maybe a little bit more actually. I'm surprised he's gone that high on a oh no, Perry's on mediums. Okay, so Perry's on mediums. Mediums for Eroticos and Astro as well. Mafia will go about 40 seconds later. About 45 seconds later even. We are now on the track. So 13.8 is the gap between Perry and Eroticos. Eroticos went full fuel, Perry did not. The gap is 250 to the lead. AstroStream really just needs to drive in the safe, well, not necessarily even the safest manner possible, just a drive would do probably for him at this point. 59.8 on the medium tyre is a very good start. That is an electric start. What a lap. Fair play at that point. Mafia out about 49 seconds off the back of the group, of the first four, first three even. And we've got Wack and Senor Fac that'll be out in very similar time. There'll be about 11 seconds between the two of them, and then probably another 15 back to Astro in 7th. We're doing very well. Up until he made the choice to go on to intermediates instead of the wets at the end of the last stint. It plummeted down the order. It was in the top 5 before that. Mafia Black is still not going as of right now. He actually has just started up and running. Senor Fac should not be too far behind. Just started fueling up now. Astro, again, shouldn't be too far behind that. All about reaction time in the pits. Save yourself as much time as possible. And Arbor is the next car up. About nearly 2 minutes off the back of him. Senor Fac, 8.6 seconds off the back of Wack. Astro, a further 8 seconds off the back of him. Mafia 133 ahead of the both of them. Because already having the gap eaten into. It's down to 12.4, was 13. Oh dear, high 13 even at that. So Rockcars is just, well, somewhat bleeding time to Perry already. In what will be a fight for second here. If Mafia wants to get involved, he's going to have to do something extremely special. Astro catching up to Senor Fac already, both of those on the same tyres. We've just had a lighting change in the middle of the pit lane. So a few teams are actually fairly close together on this one. Don't think you'll see too much variation in this race, in this stint in particular, before we run for the final one later on. Should not be that far away from starting their stint now. Aero, Eclipse Racing. See what's going on. Still 12.8 between the Rockcars and Perry for now as well. 252 to the lead. So Astro is out, if anything, is actually gaining himself time on the medium tire. The 59.7. Quite frankly, a few tenths off qualifying on the mediums rather than on Wednesday. Bear in mind, that was a 59.3 that was able to, 3.24 that was able to make it to the dance that we are currently driving on today. 3.63 is currently his best lap time of the session. Astro is absolutely flying. Absolutely flying in this one. Didn't need to go so hard, but apparently he's going to do it anyway. Because 12.5 ahead of Perry now, still very much on his own. I think Castro encountered a little bit of traffic coming out the pits there. D-Dub's 24 seconds off the back of Arbor. Then you got Chu2 after that, 6 seconds for IceQ off the back of D-Dubs. Then it's Wide after that, who's going to have to put in some absolute monstrous effort to recover the position from the last stint. There's Remy out the pits now. 23 seconds off the back of Wide. That's going to take some doing as well. That's going to take... He's going to have to put in some lap time. Getting out and... well, get the lap time down and early, realistically. Matty just sent them the thing where he got damage from damage everywhere into the chat. That was the interesting spin. That's a certain. Not entirely sure how he's managed that. D-Dub's only 3 seconds ahead of Raisku now. Raisku is absolutely flying. D-Dub's is, well, not. That's one way of putting that. He is absolutely not flying right now. I think Raisku is doing soft to medium. D-Dub's planned on doing it the opposite way round. Any sort of fight going on here. Senor Fak is just ahead of Arba, and there's a lap difference between the two of them. Astro not that far off the Croatian. See what Astro can do against Senor Fak. These two will probably go racing on a Monday when that season starts up in just over a week. Whack 11 seconds ahead of Fak at the moment as well. Shouldn't be too difficult to hold that kind of time in advance. Of course, sorry, down to 12 seconds ahead of Perry. Perry slowly but surely eating into that lap time. 2:04, or 2 minute 4 on the last lap. Rocco's about 10th back. Wonder what's going to happen on this lap time though. Perry about to come to the line. Rocco did a 2 minute 08 on the last lap. Perry trying to go to the line now. Is it going to be an improvement? Is it going to be better? It's a 2:02, so it's about 0.6 of a second gain on a Rodicod on that lap. Be very interesting to see how that continues to unfold. Then your Fak still has the advantage over Astro up to this point. See how this continues. It looks like Raisku is absolutely flooring against D-Dubs. D-Dubs is in trouble. D-Dubs is in trouble early on. Raisku's on the softs, but he is absolutely electric against him right now. This could be a very easy move, very early move here for the Finnish drivers to get themselves back into the top 9. Wide still 15 seconds off the back, so neither driver has anything to worry about from 11th at the moment. Continue on. Raisku's still about half a second shy of D-Dubs at this point in time. D-Dubs heading towards turn 1, still with the advantage over the Finns, over Choo-Choo Racing. That gap is shrinking corner by corner. He might actually try and line up a move here by the end of the first sector if he's got a good enough run. He is closing in every single corner. Get low here and then go high at the top of the hill. It might open up the door at the Degners. It might not even wait for the Degners. To the inside goes Raisku here. He's got the inside line. He's still there. So is D-Dubs on the inside. But Raisku does enough to get himself ahead. That's a nice little passage of driving there from the Finns. Up in the ninth they go. Around the outside of the first of the Degners. Never really left D-Dubs standing much of a chance. Wide did gain 2.5 seconds in all of that. Down to 12.5 off the back of D-Dubs. Ramir just slightly slower at the moment than what Wide is managing to do. Matt Debater is 19 seconds off the back of Scythe. Continue on. Raisku almost breaking a second gap on D-Dubs straight away, and actually had broke the second on him now as well as quickly as about a sector. 11.9 now the advantage. So White's got that within 12 seconds. Further forward, Astro still about 2.5 seconds off the back of Senor Baku. Hasn't really closed in on Wack at all either. 11.6 is the advantage there. Going further forward, no one really changing. The only thing that's changing is Astro's lead has become a significantly larger amount than what it was prior. Let's see, it's 11.8. Perry is slowly but surely closing that gap in, but he isn't really doing too much damage with it. Wack now 139 from Mafio and 4th place. We're already 7 laps through the 29. A quick, snappy stint, this one. Wack has lost about half a second of FAC. Say that one 10 times quick. With Astro roughly still staying around the same distance behind. And there is another car in the middle. Yeah, Arbor has managed to keep himself in the middle of the two. Actually not doing too bad of a time here. I think Eclipse just got their running order wrong. Third onward, that second wind's just starting to pull them in a little bit. They'll be fine as if they end in the top 8 after that first stint. Alright, Raidku 25 seconds off the back of Arbor. That hasn't really changed an awful lot. D-Dub 3.9 seconds off the back of Raidku now. Raidku has well and truly driven away. He is on soft tyres, so you'd expect D-Dub to try and fight it back later on, but for now, Raidku is putting on a show. Wide is on soft at the moment as well, but is really hunting down D-Dubs fairly quickly, down to 7 seconds, as he looks to try and drag Aero GT White, that is definitely not White, over the line and get themselves into the top 10. Ramir 27 seconds off the back is gonna find a little bit of pace here. That's not how you do it. That is well and truly how you hit the grass, and you got to keep yourself keeping yourself away from that. Aero GT Shiny White. New name inbound. Scythe and Matt Debater already tailed off the pack. Wonder if Matt Debater can get himself a better stint this time and try and challenge Scythe. Wide has now got himself inside 6 seconds of D-Dubs in front. So Wide has definitely got himself a charge at the start. 59.6 is a pretty good lap time on the soft rim as well. The Swede had done extremely well so far today. Did well in the 3-hour stint earlier on. Has come back for some more and has put some time down straight away. Raisku now 5.7 clear of D-Dubs. It's actually starting to close in on Navra just a little bit on this lap in particular. Both on the soft tyres as well. 2:17 is, I feel like, not the quickest lap time in the world for Arthur. He's probably going to be winning the match, that 2:03 that he's been doing, that he's already done once in this session. He's about 2 minutes behind Senor Fax, so not really going to go forward before you go backwards anyway. Astro here is actually ahead of Senor Fac now. Astro is ahead of Senor Fac by about half a second as T3 are just starting to make their way forward once again. Astro did well in the race in the wet stint right up until one error at the end of it. And now he's looking to push forward to try and get T3 into the top 5. He has a very long way to go to do it though. Wack is a very long way away. In the 13-second region. gap now sits at 10.8 between the Rockcars and Perry, who is just lapping maybe half a second a lap quicker on each lap right now, and that will eventually take its toll as they head into the final stint. I'll admit, I did expect Perry to have already taken more off him. Rockcars is doing a very good job at the moment of keeping him at bay. Astro still ahead of Senor Fact for now. Is there going to be anything in this? I don't know if Senor Fat's got enough to challenge Astro here. Astro's getting buoyed by the effect from Arbor, who's actually ahead of both of them at the moment. About half a second here. Doesn't really look like Senor Fat's got much of a fight, realistically, to put up against Astro right now. Astro's on a lot less fuel than what Senor Fat has brought to the table. As long as good, that would probably help Senor Fat, actually, given the fact that he'll have to put a lot less in when it comes to the pit stop later on. Put a lot more in the standing stop earlier, which was you kind of just had to take anyway. This is going to be interesting. Now the blue flags are waved. He's going to have to make a little bit of room. He's going to get out the way of one. Senor Fat gets to the inside. Make sure that Arbor gets out the way of them both. So Arbor is now no longer going to become a factor unless he chooses to help Senor Fat try and get past Astro. Blue flag just put into season again, which I think is Matteo, actually. That is Matteo in the background. Thought I saw the car pop up and turned out I was right. Rockcars is still holding Perry at bay. Back only 12.5 seconds up on Astro and Senor back now. The gap is shrinking, but it's not shrinking enough to where that's going to become a problem. I would assume you'll see more of a shrink in terms of the gap when you come to the soft later on. 2:12, about 0.6 of a second up on whack on that last lap. There we go. So we've got still about 0.8 of a second between Astro and Senor Fac. Wack is just, again, losing about 0.4 of a second in the first sector. And Astro keeps it going. Apologies about that. Couldn't get to mute in my mic in time. Matveo and Cypher pretty much neck and neck at the moment. They're not really getting in too much between them. Ramir is going to have to go after D-Dubs now then. 27 seconds is the gap between those two. Wider's got past D-Dubs without much of an issue by the looks of things. And currently about 2 seconds a lap quicker than the TBG driver. Wider's done a good job here getting back involved. Is he going to be able to get close enough to Raizku by the end of this race to get a potential top 9 finish again by the time they head into the final stint? Senor Fac still on the back of Astro. Those two glued at the hip. Wack only 10.9 up on Astro now. Astro definitely has a little bit more pace than Senor Fac did in trying to chase down the Queen's Head driver. I wonder if there's going to be anything to come at the end of this race between these two and Wack in particular. Rockcars had definitely got worse tyre wear at the front of his car than what Perry has on his right now. About 0.2 Perry's favour on the last lap. Again, 2/10 of a lap, 2/10 every time is not going to do too much damage. Here comes Arba into the pits. That will make Gr3 and potentially wide jump him for now then. He will go 20 laps on the medium tyres. I think this was a little bit early, to be honest with you, to go off of that soft tyre for Eclipse. I think he could have got at least one more. Would have taken him at least to the end of lap 10. I think he would have been better off suited doing that if we wanted to do 9 on the softs instead of just the 8. Does make things just that little bit more interesting now. 83% fuel going in the car. Again, he is... actually, to be honest with you, he's not going to go all the way to the end of the race. About 3 or 4 laps down. But again, I still would have done as much as I could have got out of the softs and run the mediums after. He has come out ahead of D-Dubs. Never mind, everyone will have to do a pit here. I just think Arba has already done his one. Scythe currently fighting with D-Dubs to try and unlap himself momentarily. D-Dubs is trying to go after Arba just to make sure that he can maybe cost the Eclipse driver a little bit of time here. Doing well to keep it within a second. Wide has got it within 7 seconds, sorry, of Gr3 out ahead. So he is just slowly but surely breaching that time. It was 9 seconds the last time we saw it. Maybe a top 8 is in order. 2 whole seconds quicker on the last lap than what Gr3 was able to manage. And then you're back now outside of a second on Astro. Slipstream not going to kick in as much. Wack is now sub 10 seconds is worth of an advantage over Astro. Astro's starting to put the laps together, which is good news for T3. Albeit Astro will have to go again in the final stint. .6 the advantage at the moment. Wack needs to find a little bit of rhythm. He is starting to struggle just a little bit. 9.6 now the advantage between Perry and Eroticos as well. So Perry is slowly but surely eking away at that time. 0.4 of a second on the last lap. The longer that Perry can keep taking 0.4 of a second out, the more likely he might actually get Eroticos by the time the final stint arises. I believe Eroticos are doing both the final stint, this stint and the final stint for Aero GT Blue. I would assume that it's not going to be Perry in the car for the final stint at all in terms of Project Platypus. Mafia realistically isn't doing too much damage. It was about 47-48 at the start. It's still about 47-48 now. And the blue flags are about to appear, which means it is one of the front guys. It is Astro about to lap Mafio again. Put Mafio 2 laps back then. And that will not be good news. You need to stay at worst 1 lap back, just in case something absolutely catastrophic does happen. You may be able to sneak your way onto the first lap, onto the first lap, and well, anything's possible from there. Right now, this is looking formidable. 3 minutes on the clock. 3 minutes the advantage at the front. The first number is a 3. I don't even think that the first number was a 3 in Daytona. This has been a clinic in terms of that wet stint. Absolutely cruise controlled the rest of this race now. Nothing gaining there, but nothing gaining between Eroticos and Perry. Astro is definitely gaining on Wack every corner, every lap. 8.1 is now the advantage given to from Wack to Astro. Astro only 1.2 ahead of Senor Fak as well, so Wack is going to have to hold these two at bay. We'll see who's in the car at the end for Queen's Head. Arthur still fighting with D-Dubs. He should be away from D-Dubs by now, to be honest with you. On fresher tyres, he should be a lot further away than what is currently happening. Wait, he's going to start struggling. Ramir, 4 seconds off the back of Raizku right now, but Raizku did just pit onto the medium tyres, so he's going to go to the end of this race. Matt DeBeer getting out the way. Getting out the way of the Finnish drivers. Ramir's on the mediums, so he's going to go pit one more time before the end. Matt DeBeer is ahead of Saif right now, who's pitted onto soft for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why you'd do that. I think you might have to pit again, you know. If that's the case, then Saif's going to drop behind B-Crap there. I don't really get the reasoning behind the early pit there, unless it's damage. That's a rather puzzling decision. I wonder how long it's going to take for Raizku to try and catch up to D-Dubs here then. D-Dubs 1.1 off the back of Arvu, who's finally started to build some version of a gap. Don't forget, Arvu has pit, D-Dubs has not. Raizku has pit as well now. So Arvu is ahead of Raizku. It is about 17 seconds. Actually, it's about 18 seconds that advantage. Wide hasn't pit yet, and the 10-second advantage on Arvu will probably drop to in and around where Raizku actually was. I wonder where that's gonna how that's gonna affect things. Mafio now passing Senor back with the blue flags. Astro not that far in front, so I would assume those blue flags will kick in as well. As Astro for T3 and Astro Stream, I guess is the best way of saying this. But Aero GT Purple currently leading the race. Perry offered the medium tyres wide. He is on the end of 15. You're going to try and go 14 on the soft. Is Perry about to try and go 14 on the softs here? Huh. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure that's a good choice. What do I know? I didn't take all the time in the world to set out these strategies. A very quizzical one from Project Platypus if this doesn't work out. Right, Rokos has a 37-second advantage at the moment over Perry then. Wait until Perry get himself... Well, wait until Rokos pits properly and then we'll figure out where the the gap actually lies. 6.2 seconds between Astro and Wacker. They're on the same tyre and realistically the same strategy. Wacker's a lot more fuel though, so they'll bounce back in his favour later on. Senor Fak is now 2.8 back. Slowly but surely dropped off the T3 driver. Well, triple threat driver, I think is the actual name of the group. Senor Fak not really able to keep up. Wide is actually ahead. Wide might actually be ahead of Raizku now. 14 seconds there. It's going to be close, you know. It'll be close between Wide and Raizku. Arba's pit as well. So we're still waiting on a few to the pit just to level out and figure out where everyone actually is. Ramir's actually closing in on Raizku now as well. Ramir's having a good run on the medium tyres right now. We'll go on to soft later on, so we'll D-dub, so we'll basically the rest of the grid that hasn't already pit Astro into the pits now off the medium tyres. It's about 9/10 of a second here from Amir to Raikkonen out in front of the battle itself. Arbor 1 second ahead of D-Dubs. He really has not been able to distance himself from D-Dubs in the slightest here. And that might be worrying, to be honest with you, if you're Arbor. Hungarian's got to get it together here. White has just come off the tyres now. Done a fair stint on that soft, to be completely honest with you. About 13 laps on the tyre. That's a fair chunk of laps. About what Perry is planning to do as well. White's going to come out. The real question is, how close is he going to be to Raikkonen? And then to Ramir by association. At the pits coming out the pits now. Wide, looking to stay ahead. Is he going to be able to? It's going to be close. It looks like he will. And White has jumped to finish drivers in the pits. And into the top 10 goes Aero GT White. He has gained a position. D-Dub still has to pit, so he'll gain 2. But he is going to have to defend from Raikkonen here. Raikkonen has definitely kept him honest. Honestly, Ramir is at this point in time keeping Raikkonen honest as well. So these three are going to go at each other, even if it isn't technically Ramir's race at all. I have to admire Ramir for keeping going here. Matt Debater is still ahead of Saib. Well, still behind Saib, sorry. 7 seconds have gone back. I don't know if Saib has to pit again, though. Well, because just put another lap on it. Yeah, well, from what I can see, those gaps have come down quite something here between the Rotterdams and Perry. Send you back onto the soft tyres now, then. I think he just come out another lap behind Astro in all of this. D-Dub's into the pitch side, so we'll see everyone shake out now. So Arbor is in 8th. Arbor in 8th. It should be Wide in 9th. Raikkonen's had a bit of a been overtaken. I don't know if he had a bit of an issue. 2 of 3 on the last lap. 2 of 3 on this lap. It's not particularly strong laps from Raikkonen. Ramir has kept him very honest. He's got himself in front of him now. Wide is going to drive off as a result. I wonder how this is going to play out now then. So White's going to drive off. Is he going to be able to get anywhere near Arbor by the end of this stint? Or will that be a peckish thing to do to try and chase the top 8? I reckon one team will be very disappointed with the top 8, with only getting top 8, and the other one will be absolutely ecstatic with getting top 8. Arbor's just got to hold his nerve here. Astro's basically out of fuel. Whack 1.6 ahead of Astro in the end. Unfortunately for Astro, he's got 30 times his fuel. Whack is going to have to put in a minimal amount. Astro is going to have to put in basically the entire half a tank here. Yeah, all the way to 40, only to 40 here. And Whack is already back out the pits. We'll get flashed here by Astro in due course in a second. Astro is actually out behind Senor Fak. Senor Fak has jumped him. Oh, and that just shows how much Astro had to put in the pit stop. Whack has a 6-second advantage to him all over again. And fresh tyres. All of a sudden, Wack doesn't look under threat in the slightest. He will have to let Astro go here. Which he does before the first of the Degners. He has let Senor Fact close a rather substantial gap there. I don't really think he could have picked much of a chance. I don't know why Wack has done that in the first of the Degners. He gave himself such a slowdown. Basically served a half-second penalty involuntarily there into the first of the two Degners. Now Senor Fact's within 3 seconds of him. Astro, they're still roughly about the 6 second mark. Matthew into the pits now. A long way away. Rotocods are 3 seconds up the road. Okay, so Perry has caught the gap. Perry has caught a gap quite significantly here now. 3 seconds is the advantage that the Rotocods has on Perry. An advantage that was 12 seconds not that long ago. Right now, it looked like Perry's decision to go early has worked. However, there is still about 9 laps to go. There's about 7 laps to go, actually, with the amount of time that they're behind Astro. Perry's just gonna have to try and hold that gap as short as he can. I don't know if the Rotocods can hold off the Project Platypus driver in the final stint. If Perry can keep this within 5 seconds, for example. Gonna be interesting, that's a certain. Rotocods currently an entire second up on his fastest lap. Through the first 2 sectors. I assume this is his first proper lap. Yeah, it will be his first proper lap on the soft tyre. Perry 4.2 back at the moment. The Rotocods is just building a gap slowly but surely again. Wack is under fire from Senor Fac at this point in time. 2.5 seconds the difference between those two. Astro not really forcing any sort of issues behind. Wide 7 seconds off the back of Arbor. Quite frankly, it's still the case where I think Wide is going to put some pressure on Eclipse by the end of this stint. Ramir is still going. 4 laps back, he does know that he should be on softs by now. Oh, it looked a little bit uncomfortable there from Ramir. Ramir is, when he does pit, he'll be, what, maybe a couple of seconds, maybe about 5-6 seconds off the back of D-Dubs. Quite frankly, if he goes on soft now, he could catch that. He could really catch that. I don't think someone thinks that they can catch it. Yeah, Wide 5.6 now on the back of Arbor. I genuinely do think that Wide is going to give him a real run for his money. For his money down in the back end of this race. I wonder how close he can get. I still don't understand why Ramir's not pitting. He did start on the soft, but he's not going to get to the end. I think he's still running his strategy as if he was running 29 laps. I don't think you should be doing that. It's going to cause problems later down the line. Senor Fac's only catching 0.2 of a second on Wack at the moment, so Wack is doing enough to hold Senor Fac back. I assume there'll be another driver getting in that Queen's Head car for the final stint. Wack has done back-to-back. At this point in time, Mafio looking to lap Senor Fack. And 6 minutes is the difference there. Perry is about 5 seconds behind Eroticos now. Alright, 5.1. Perry's still trying to get himself close enough to Eroticos to keep it interesting. In the final stint, Senor Fack doing the same. I just don't know if Wack is going to be able to hold Senor Fack back for the rest of the stint. This is going to be really close, this one. Unlike the Perry one, which is the gap is just going to extend. Wack is going to have to put a shift in to hold the position. Or either that or hope that Mafio, well, gets past Senor Fack at the least optimal time. One of the two. Astro 4.7 off the back of these two again. Just not really posing much of a threat is Astro in 7th. Just don't really see him really getting close to these two. You know that Senor Fack is not going to leave Wack alone at all, and this is not a commentary nightmare in the slightest. I'm going to have to untwist my tongue at the end of this, the amount of time that tongue twist has been said so far in this race. Wide 2 seconds off the back now. Why did 2 seconds off the back of Arva? I think he's going to get him. I genuinely think he's going to get him. I think Ramirez should... Someone should tell Ramirez that he needs to pit. And he's not running a 29-lap race. He could have been doing the last 5 or 6 laps on the softs. Would have easily had DA dubs at the very least. Right now, he's going to struggle to stay. He's going to struggle to stay in front of D-Dubs with the way he's strategized this race. 25 to 29 here for Astro. Quite frankly, it's been about as convincing as you could probably have got. That is honestly fair, Jensen. You ran around like a headless chicken in that last stint. To quote your own words. Also, Astro's opened the gap to 3 minutes and 13 seconds. He has got in the car and he has absolutely destroyed people in this stint. Tacked on another 20 seconds worth of advantage on a team that already had 2 minutes and 50. This is well and truly putting people to the sword. That's what this is. They could have rested. They definitely could have rested. Could have Aero GT, but they haven't. They simply haven't. Aero GT Purple have put every single person to the sword tonight. Especially in that rain stint. Perry only 6 seconds off the back of Roticard. That should still be catchable in the final stint. It's still half the gap from the stint they started with. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake there from Perry. We're going to have to do a little bit better than that. Wack is now less than a second ahead of Senor Fack. This is where things get interesting. Also, Wide has got past Arva. Wide has got past Arva up in the 8th then. For Aero GT, not White. Alright, good there in 7 seconds. I was about to say, Ramirez now pit. The problem for Ramirez, he's left this too late. He has left this comfortably too late. I think it's just a little bit of situational awareness from Ramir here. Should have known that he's realistically only going to go 25. He should have done the 15 on the softs, or 14 on the softs. Go to the end of lap 15, land of lap 16, and then run them, or on the mediums rather than run soft to the end. If he wanted to only do 9 on the softs. He's going to try and unlap himself from Perry here. Going to go to the inside. This is good news if you're a Rodicod of all people. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two. Ramir still has it. Ramir has unlapped himself. I don't think Perry will be too happy in the manner he has. I don't think Ramir cares. He's got a D-dubs to go after. Perry's going to try and fight this back. Perry's going to try and run down the inside. Ramir's not going to let that happen. Perry needs to avoid fighting. Now he's absolutely bleeding time back to a road cut. That gap now 8.5 seconds again. Rather than the 6 it was not that long ago. Mafia 41 has actually gained a rather decent amount of time on Perry and on a Rotocod in this stint. Was 47.48. He gained about 6 or 7 seconds. Wack is still ahead of Factfire right now. They head through turn 1. On lap 27 with Astro. Actually, not that far behind. Actually, maybe slightly in front of Wack actually on track. I wonder if Wack's going to be able to hold Fack back here. I really don't think he's going to be able to hold this for 2 laps. He is going to be under some serious threat. I think Lost Tracking is going to try and sneak into the top 5 here. Either way, it won't be too far away from each other going into the final stint. So these two are going to be fighting for that final place in that top 5. Wacker doing a good enough job on the lap so far. Senor Facker's much better run though out of the hairpin and down the Spoon curb. It's going to have to take some defending here. Wack still has the advantage. As they head through Spoon now. A good exit is absolutely necessary for that Nissan. Otherwise that Porsche is going to eat it alive. I don't know if that was good enough of an exit from Wack to hold Senor Fack at bay. Senor Fack might look for the inside. Nope, he did for a split second, decided against it. And Wack ain't going to complain because that's going to compromise the entrance into 130. Oh, he's going to get another clean run at this. So Wack is going to take the advantage here and survive just a little bit longer. Astro is now starting to chalk that time away, get himself involved in the fight again. A fight he hasn't been involved in since lap 14. Wack still had the advantage over Senor Fack at the moment as well. So as of right now, this is not going too badly at all for Queen's Head. Here, Wack is doing a stellar defensive job to stay at the top 5. It's a job that he needed to do. About 2 tenths now into the Degners. He just needs to protect in every single corner of the lap because there's only about 1 to go, maybe 2 at most. That looked a little bit deep there from Senor Fack. It didn't look too controlled. Which means I think Wack is going to be safe into the hairpin. The question is now, what is the exit looking like in this hairpin? It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for Wack in the slightest. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this. He should do into Spoon, but out of Spoon is going to be a very different story. Four tenths of a second right now. 4.5 tenths of a second is definitely a better corner for Wack in particular. It's not a good exit for Senor Fack, so Wack should be safe for a very small while longer. They're about to go into lap 29 with Astro out front, so this will be one more lap. Well, they're about to enter the final lap here with Wack. I will go down the grid for you in a minute, Ross. That way you can pick up the times. We are into the final lap, and Wack has done a stellar job on Senor Fack here. 8 tenths of a second is not a fair gap. Fack is going to be able to charge down into turn 1. It's going to take a mistake now from Wack to stop, to not really take into that position anymore. So we got Astro 3:17 ahead of Rotocods, who is now 11 seconds clear of Perry, who's 3:28 off the lead. With 4:05 for Maffio, that's going to go up maybe another second or two by the end. Then you got Wack on 6:11, 6:12 now, 6 tenths ahead of Senor Fack. Also on 6:12, 6:14 for Astro. Further behind, and 8:52 for Wide, who's 11 seconds to clear of Arvo, and 9:04. And then Raikou 9:06. No, Raikou, sorry, 9:06 trying to go after Arvo. Then Ramir 9:21, who's actually ahead of D-Dub by 6 seconds, 9:27. And 11:29 for Scythe, and 11:59 for Matt Debater. And we're on the final laps now with Astro heading toward the end of the race. Again, Aero GT. They had the first couple of stints were trouble. The first couple of stints were looked like they were gonna go back and forth with Slipstream Racing the entire day. Even after Iron and company in the third stint. The fourth stint is where Aero GT took off. The rain helped them out massively. Catchkreek is not, well, yeah, it's not how you say his name, but he could not actually keep tabs at all. It allowed Matty and Aero GT to build 2.5 minutes worth of advantage. And Astro will take a 3-minute 17 advantage into the final stint. Maffio there at 4:05. I think it's Wack after that. It is going to be Wack after that, who beats out Senor Fack by 6 tenths of a second, who beats out Astro by about 2.2. There's the next one to the line then. I think it's Wide the next one to the line then. After that, Astro cruise control of this stint. And all of a sudden, Aero GT look incredibly formidable. Formidable opponents. And they look like they're going to double up. They've had one race already in this endurance season. This is the second. And quite frankly, it looks like a double up already. 8:54 for Wide is the gap between him and the next place back. And the lead, sorry. Arva, the next man up, just about beating Raikou to the line in the end. 9:08, 9:09 even. And then 9:10 for Raikou. I don't know who's the next one to the line. I think it's a Rotocods. It is a Rotocods. Then it's Ramir, who got a half-second penalty, still 9:22 off the lead. Then it is going to be Perry to the line next after that. 3:30 off the front. And then you've got D-Dubs just about ahead of Cypher. There's an entire lap in between. D-Dubs 9:34, 11:33 for Scythe. That will end off the 1 hour stint. Wow. Astro in complete control right now. Alright, I am going to end this stream here, and then we'll set up the final stream in due course. Alright. In a bit.